Welcome to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gann, the podcast for people-centric leaders, business owners, and HR professionals who know that people are at the heart of business success. Join me and industry experts as we explore the key aspects of building a thriving company, sharing cutting-edge strategies, impactful insights, and the latest trends to help you ignite your business growth. It's time to rev up your leadership, rev up your success. Let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Rev Up Your Business. Today, my guest is Jennifer He, and we're going to focus on From Noise to Growth, 3 truths every emerging business must embrace. So let me introduce you to Jennifer He. She is the founder of VOYO Business Design and Management and a strategic growth advisor to emerging businesses with global ambition. Equal parts fractional CMO, design thinker, and brand storyteller, she works across sectors from retail and financial services to emerging tech and professional services, turning complexity into clarity and growth into momentum. Fluent in English, Mandarin, and the language of innovation, Jennifer brings heart, strategy, and edge to every transformation. She doesn't just help businesses grow, she helps them become who they are meant to be.
Thank you so much, Rhoda.
Thank you, Jennifer, for joining me today and sharing your creativity, your innovation, your way of helping business owners. So I'm looking forward to our topic. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go and talk about some of the key areas where you're an expert.
So I've been in business for over 30 years now. My career, I used to work for 3 big corporations, big organizations, China Chamber of Commerce, Intel Corporation in the late 90s, and then BMO Bank of Montreal, BMO Financial Group, in various marketing and strategy departments. So I left BMO 10 years ago. So it's been 10 years I've been on my own, doing consulting work for businesses, in the strategy and marketing area.
And I love how you said you speak the language of innovation, and you have taken the How to Fascinate assessment tool and definitely innovation. And I know how we talked about it, and you said, yeah, when I was growing up, I didn't really use my innovation, but then I began to embrace it, and I feel like, I can really make a contribution more this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that seed was planted when I went to Rotman School of Business. Rotman is well known for business design. So using a methodology called design thinking, imagine this, Hilda and our audience. Design creates things that do not exist. So that's why it has a innovation embedded into it. So we use designers' methodologies to create business, to create services, to create product that people really want.
And I think I asked you today, what were 3 things that you want to share with others using that expertise that you have? And I think the first one that you shared was clarify core function.
Yeah.
Explain.
So, I'm talking about this really from a strategy and marketing perspective, because that's my background, not from technology or operations background. So let's set up that context. What I meant by clarify the functions is, because I work with, over the years, I worked with a lot of businesses. A lot of them are emerging businesses, the leadership team and business owners. What I found is you need to have clarity among brands, marketing, and sales. So those 3 functions are different, because emerging businesses, imagine you are just past the startup stage, you're about to grow or scale. A lot of them cannot tell the difference between brand and marketing. So they think brand and marketing are the same thing. And then, sales and marketing kind of intertwine as well in small businesses. So brand, marketing, and sales, if you know the difference and you know what to do in each realm, that will help you a lot more to grow. And without that clarity, it just erodes results. So you don't need to, like one person can do those three functions. That I don't mean like you need to have different people on different things. What I meant is for the business owner, or you have a small leadership team, you need to be very clear what those three functions are. So I'll explain more. I'll pause here for people to reflect.
I think sometimes people don't realize the distinction. Like they think, oh, well, the marketer, people who are doing marketing can do sales. And I know you said it doesn't have to be three different functions, but people who are good at marketing are not necessarily the people that can close the sale. And people who close a sale don't understand the nurturing to get market. They just want that final deal. And so sometimes ideally they are separate functions, and branding is an image. So yeah, please expound on that more, because I think especially when you're new and you don't have you have the passion to start this business, but you don't necessarily have the savvy in all aspects of the business. So I appreciate you sharing that you need to clarify what those core functions are. So elaborate on that the distinction between each of those.
Distinction. It can be one person doing all those three jobs, but you need to understand which realm you are in, because the skill set and the language in each realm is different.
Right.
So let me explain it. Brand is who you are. Let's put it simply. Brand is who you are. Marketing is how you attract. Sales is how you convert.
Right.
So let's go down deeper. Brand is who you are. I usually tell business leaders and owners there are 4 components to who you are. What is your promise? That promise needs to be consistently kept. That's how people experience you. For instance, if people experience my consulting practice, and our brand is about, embrace uncertainty with creativity and confidence. So in our delivery, we deliver to that promise, consistently kept.
Can you say that again? Because I loved what you said.
Yeah. Embrace uncertainty with confidence and creativity. That's how we help business owners do. That's for longer term. It sounds very overarching and broad, but that's what the brand is, so that we can do the delivery aligning to our promise.
Yeah.
So promise consistently kept. That's 2 components. Promise consistently kept. Then the third one is your reputation. And the fourth one is future you, right? You need to have that vision. And the brand is longer term. So that's the brand. Who you are, 4 components. Think about that. You need to have that clarity. Then you know where you're going, longer term.
That makes sense. Thank you for sharing that tip, because that is like so key in that. What about marketing and sales?
So I just mentioned marketing is how you attract.
Right.
So marketing, basically what the marketing function does is generating leads. When the lead is generated, marketing function is done. So how you generate it, basically you have content, right? Your content needs to align with who you are, your brand. Then how you attract is your channels. How you're going to place your content in those channels. Some people use social media. Some people use referrals. Some people go to conferences. And you can have that mix. We call it marketing mix. So figure out that matrix strategy, how you work on that. So that's basically the marketing function. is storytelling.
And you
Okay.
mentioned that storytelling earlier. So how do you help people with the story? And why do people need to have a story?
Because that's how our brain functions. People don't remember all those numbers, but they do remember a story. Because yeah, story has logic. I'm not saying numbers don't have logic, but numbers are code. So if you put a context around those numbers, then people will remember more.
Yes, stories also have memory, and people can associate that memory, and somehow they can feel it in their heart, hear it in their brain. Numbers, sometimes it's numbers, right? It's here, but it's not here, and so stories help to create that connection even more.
Yeah, you said it very well. It's the brain, not the heart.
Yeah.
So for marketing, we want people's hearts.
And so marketers are often people pleasers or people connectors. In the word of fascination, passion is probably one of their first or second languages that they speak fluently.
Yeah.
But then closing the deal, conversion and sales, that's a different set of different mindset and a different need to
Yes.
happen. So take us now through that core function of sales.
So, when I was working at a big corporation, I wasn't very good at sales because I never need to close those deals. We marketing department and strategy, on that strategy side, we just drive traffic and generate leads. Then our job is done.
And you've met those metrics,
Get
right?
people to close the deals. Yeah. So it was not until I started my own consulting practice, my own business, did I realize, conversion skills are very different, right? So first you need to be very quickly to understand, like, is that a qualified lead? Basically, is that person ready, willing, and able? You need to have that assessment through conversations. Then different techniques to close that deal. So yeah, that's the sales conversion part. So sales is closing deals, basically.
Any specific tips or strategies about closing deals that you could share?
I'm not a sales expert, but from personal experiences, first is always to assess, like, whether that person is a qualified lead. I just mentioned that. Do they have a budget? Is the willingness to pay there? So you need to have all those questions ready. In a different business, you need to have all those questions ready, and then kind of through conversations assess whether that client is your true client.
Yeah.
Then basically satisfy their needs. So listening is a very important skill set. It's not the talking part for salespeople.
That's such an important thing, and I think it's not used as readily as it could be. And I find myself sometimes on people who are not experienced in sales. They've got their script, and you feel like it's a script, and you feel like if they close this deal, I'm just a number for them.
Because they're not connecting with you.
Yeah, they're not connecting, and the way they ask the questions, it's not natural. It feels like they're just trying to pressure me into buying something that I am not ready to purchase, right? So I find it it should be a connection, it should be a dialogue, and it should be, yes, I'm ready, willing, and able, but if you're not making a connection with me, I may turn down your offer because I just don't like the way you're trying to sell me, right?
Yeah. People do business with people they like.
Yes.
Especially in B2B.
Exactly. So it is important to have that nurture sequence.
Yeah.
But the person who's selling has to also have some kind of ability to relate to that person. Stuff. Let's talk then about another concept you were sharing with me: tune out the noise.
Yeah. So, this, is again, after working with many business owners and leaders, you go to networking events or, everybody can give you an opinion how you should run your business. and your family, friends, and I used to have this client telling me like everybody's telling him how to run his business, but they don't really know his business. So I've heard that a lot, and I synthesized 5 voices you should listen to. So that really helped me as well. When Hilda, me and my partner, we started a retail business, and got so many opinions. I call them opinions. Then we were like, oh, we need to be very stable and calm ourselves to filter out noises like whose opinions we should listen to. So we say 5 opinions, 5 voices you should listen to. So the first one is always your customers, your clients,
right?
Because their opinions matter, right? And when they have something, then you need to make sense of what they're saying and get down like to unhidden needs, not only things on the surface. So always your customer should be at the center. And I know that you are a people-centered, business, because you're in HR. How can you not be people-centered? So you understand that.
Yep, for sure.
Those 5 voices, we talk about people. So customer is always at the center, and all those other people, I think, for me, there are no priorities, but they're important. For instance, people who have achieved the kind of success that you aspire to, you want, because success leaves trails, and those people's opinion you should listen to.
Yep.
So that's the second group. Then the third group is industry expert. No matter which industry you want to get into, there are industry experts, because each industry has its own dynamic and ecosystem you might not know. So
exactly,
listen to people who's been working in the industry for a long while. They're expert in that industry. But the grain of salt is, from innovation perspective, you need to think, okay, so is there something new or the new trend that we can disrupt, or if there is an hidden needs where you can create new opportunities. But the industry experts, they will save your time because they know that industry better than you do. I would say that's the third group. Then the fourth group is specialized professionals, such as yourself and myself included, because you are, in leadership, human resources, and all those frameworks, and the kind of pitfall you might, get yourself into, right? So specialized professionals can save you time, and time is money.
And thank you for sharing that. How would you describe your specialized services so that people say, wow, I loved what Jennifer had to say. She's talking about whose voices should we listen to. I'm taking notes here. I thought, wow, this is really cool. And then talking about innovation and the fact that there's different, to clarify core functions. Think about brand, marketing, and sales. These are all excellent points. So how would you describe your specialized services that could help a company? And where would that company go with your services? Maybe you can answer those two together.
Yeah. So my specialty is really set up marketing systems and help you with your brand. So the marketing systems, emerging businesses, a lot of them are from like 0 to 1. kind of founders, they might not have systems, because once you get to past the startup stage, you wanted to get to the next stage, a lot of things need to be standardized, or you need to use frameworks underneath it so that you stabilize the foundation, say marketing foundation or strategy foundation. That's how you grow your business. So I come in and to do that. I'll give you a systematic example is, for instance, your client relationship management, right? So how do you, your lifeline, your database is your lifeline. So how do you attract and nurture that database?
Yeah. Yeah, because when you don't have a system, I mean, you can, when you're starting up, you can put it all in your head. But the minute you start having way too many functions, marketing, sales, and the operations, and the actual projects, client work, then that system falters. The quality assurance of it can be inconsistent. So you do need systems. And I'm a firm believer of foundations. You start with a base, you understand what your belief systems are, and from there, your beliefs and the way you want to build that business, you need those functions standardized, whether it's in the operations side, the human resources side, and the clients. What will form from that foundation, what kind of clients you have, what kind of clients you want, and what kind of services you would provide for those clients. So that's all part of it.
And also when you grow, it's not you only one person.
Yeah.
You need to replicate you in some of the functions.
Yes.
So that's how I help as well to train your team on marketing, and so that people align with your vision.
Right. And that's when, like, at first you try to do it all, then you have to bring on people to replicate you or supplement you, because maybe you're not good at marketing, maybe you're not good at sales, maybe your passion was the business to the clients, but all those other functions, maybe you're only good at 2, 3, maybe none of them. And that's where you need to get experts in the industry. You need to have specialists to help you do that.
So that's the fourth voice. The fifth one is your employees, your staff, your team.
Yay! That's where I come in. I love hearing this. Yes, tell me more.
Yeah, your people, especially the frontline, who has direct interactions with your clients. You need to listen to them, because that's a indirect channel that you understand your customers more, and your team's concern. It might be, you might find operational problem, you might find management problems inside your company. So you need to listen to your team. And that's how I think CISA is. Because out of those 5, just calm down and carry on.
I liken it to the analogy of, when you're planning a wedding, when you're having a baby, everybody wants to give you advice, right? And so I like this checklist.
And with good intention.
How do you apply this to other aspects, not just business? And so I wrote these all down, and I'm going to see how that translates to other things, from the business to the non-business side of life.
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that yet.
We're too busy talking for me to think about it, but I'm thinking there's got to be some kind of, what are those 5 voices that I get advice from for some things, because some things it's just opinion, and you don't need their advice, and then it just creates stress if you're trying to use it based on a voice that shouldn't have a priority.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else about tuning out the noise?
For now, 5 voices.
Key. That's good. And those 5 voices were customers, role models. I call them role models, people that you aspire to be like. Then the industry experts, the
Specialized
Specialized,
professional.
and then the employees. Thank you. And then there was another point that you mentioned in our discussions is deliver what people want.
Mhm. Not what you wish they wanted. So I've seen that over and over with founders, with owners, who are passionate about their strengths, their businesses, but oftentimes, forget about the customers. So I would say fall in love. So before you fall, how do I say it? Before you fall in love with your own profession, fall in love with your customer's reality.
Oh, I like
I
that.
will help you. I'll give you this an example. So this is a previous client and also an existing client. So who's a designer? And when we first looked at her stuff, it's she's designing for herself, for her body type and the clothes that she wanted to wear. So for so many years, she couldn't. She didn't even get the size right for certain markets. So no wonder your business, is kind of flat. She closed many stores. Yeah, that was a huge problem.
And I think that that is a trap we all fall into.
Yeah,
I love what I do. I love my rev up
yeah.
concept, but
I am as well from time to time.
yeah,
So we have to keep reminding ourselves.
yeah.
It's not about us. It
I could
is
see
about us, but more about them, like
when,
our customers.
when I was learning to be a better leader, I would read all these little, articles and stuff like that. And they said, think about your customer, right? Because without your customer, you have no business.
Mhm.
And I remember reading this, and we had this one staff member, and she got distracted easily. And if the water was dripping down the hall,
Yeah,
it distracted her.
yeah.
And she'd say, would people make sure they shut the tap off? And then she'd say, yes, Hilda, I can hear it. So she knew that I would probably say, really? Yes, Hilda. And then she would complain about, oh, that customer wants this now and they want that now. Oh, I don't have time for this. And suddenly in my mind, I'm thinking, but if we don't give them the time and do a good job, they won't want us anymore. And then you won't be complaining because we don't have any work and you may not even have a job. So we need to think about the customer's reality. And when they ask for something, we need to be there to say, yes, we can make that happen. So I love how you say deliver what people want, not what you want to deliver. And we're all guilty of that.
Yeah,
And
I think most of us are guilty of it, and me for sure. Yeah, I was, yeah, I made so many mistakes, and maybe still do, but I've learned my lesson because till I conquer that, and I found businesses like my businesses started to expand, and I have better interactions. Because before I was like, oh, I wanted to talk to people about this.
right.
But yeah. But if you don't solve their problem or you don't deliver the benefits that they want, nobody has the time.
No, no. Yeah. I had a coach once and she taught me this valuable lesson. What you're selling is not vitamins. Oh, this could be so much better if you buy this vitamin and that vitamin. No, they don't want to buy vitamins necessarily. What they want is painkillers. So
Yes.
sell them painkiller relievers.
Yeah.
I get that. Don't sell them what might be nice to have,
Mhm.
but sell them something they need to have and solves a problem that they have.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of solving a problem, I read a blog recently that said, if you asked me 6 months ago if you told me 6 months ago that I would be starting my own business,
Mhm.
I would say, really? Like, what are you thinking? And
Mhm.
yet that's what you're doing now. Do you want to talk a little bit about your endeavor, your recent endeavor?
So we created VOYO space, VOYO space. It is a boutique retail space, tangible retail space for emerging brands. That's the B2B side. And on the B2C side, we cater to people, who sometimes found life a bit dull and who needs a little charm. And we source quality products for them for lifestyle, fashion, design, stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I'm starting.
And why did you decide to start that?
So it came from client's problem. Again, we were saying, fall in love with your client's reality first. So what we found in our B2B service in the retail space with those emerging brands, if you are e-commerce only, or if you're a niche brand, for instance, if you're physically in Montreal or somewhere else, and you don't have a presence in, say, Toronto, and how do you expand? And also international brands as well. So the a common problem that they have is the physical retail in market. If you want to enter, it's risky. It requires upfront capital investment, and it's complicated, and have a lot of uncertainties if you don't have that skill set. So, for instance, when we go look for retail space to rent, most of the malls will ask you to commit to 5-year lease. So those are all the barriers. Emerging businesses, found it very challenging for them. And some of them have very good quality products they want to share with the world.
Yes.
So that's when we come in. And so we want to solve that problem. And the underneath of it, because me and my partner, Polaris, we're all business designers and design thinking. We use design thinking methodologies to do innovation. So that's how we did it. We created this space.
And this space is actually quite unique because these designers can then go into the retail market and their capital investment is minimized because you've created this space where they can actually showcase their stuff. And they don't have a 5-year lease for a 90-foot square in a big outlet in a big mall, and that's just eating away into any profits that they could possibly make. So I love the concept, and I was actually there looking at it for some event space that I'm planning to do with my partner, Amy. And I have to show this. I found this wonderful, very unique piece, jacket to use for my occasions when I want to share my brand. This is elegant looking, it's classic, and it's unique. And I think that speaks a lot about me and the brand I wanted to feature. So I wear this with pride, and I decided that, of course, I'm going to show it when you and I have our podcast today. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful space. And everything that you've kind of shared today really supports that system design thinking, out of the box, innovative. Every detail in your store shows the thought that was put into it in a very classy, elegant brand awareness way, and I just
not intimidating. That's
and it's bright and light. It really reflects the person I've come to know in you, Jennifer. What you've done and the concept that you've done to help people who are emerging as entrepreneurs in the kind of retail space and offering that uniqueness. It's not your standard, buy 20 pairs of socks, and they'll come in white and blue and whatever. You really raise the bar in terms of that elegance.
Thank you, Hilda. Very kind of you.
Not kind.
We want to help those emerging brands because it's not easy to start up your own business. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur.
Yes. So you decided to experience the reality of your customers.
That's what we said, fall in love with their reality before Before you fall in love with what you know.
You are really embracing the reality, like right down in the design space or the retail space with them. What's next for you, Jennifer? Is anything you want to share
So
before?
hey, we wanted to really get VOYO space to take off, and we wanted more emerging businesses, emerging business owners who have good quality services to share with the world, who don't want to experience the risk and come to talk to us.
Yes. And just so people aren't thinking it's only retail space, what other ideal clients would really find it valuable to use your services?
I think if you want to do some kind of events, come talk to us as well, because we have an event space.
Mhm.
And for me, my background has been financial services, technology, digital as well. So I serve those business owners and leaders, and I still do have financial services clients who I work on the CRM for them.
Okay. And I know
Client relationship management, if they want a system and set up that system for them.
I wanted people to hear that you don't just work in the retail sector, that you do financial services and professional services as well. So thank you for sharing that. How do people get a hold of you?
They can find me online on LinkedIn. Online, our website is voyoconsulting.com, VOYO consulting.com. And my LinkedIn, you have my name here, Jennifer He. You can find me on LinkedIn. And I have a link there, book an appointment with me. So I have all the information online. And just reach out to me.
And for those who are just on audio, it's Jennifer He. The He is He.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, sharing your wisdom, your innovative approach, your systematic thoughts, and the 5 voices that you really should be listening to. As I said, I've got some thinking to do to expand the voices, not just in the business sector, but elsewhere. But I appreciate the wisdom that you shared with us. I appreciate your courage in falling in love with the client's experience and opening your own retail space, to which I've had the advantage of purchasing something that is going to be a signature piece for me for sure.
Thank you, Hilda. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And to those of you who are listening or viewing us on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Jennifer was full of information that can be useful to you in building your successful business. Again, thank you. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe, because there are many more topics that really will help you build your business. So rev up your business and have a great day. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Rev Up Your Business with Hilda Gann. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and Spotify to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes. For more HR tips, strategies, and to learn how you can create a people-centric workplace, visit our website at peoplebrightconsulting.com.